want to show you how we take her in and out of the house. Sit through any doorway. It's a great way to do this. Have her sit. She waits. You step in the boundary, in through the boundary. This is to accentuate the fact that this is your boundary, not hers, and she's not allowed to go through without you. You wait till you come back and you say, okay. And even if she tries to pull it all, you can tap her. She's gotten really good at this. Okay. Tap. And then we're going to come out as well to show you how we come out. I'm going to have her sit. Open the door. It's always more effective to have her sit first because she can be triggered to pop up by the opening door, so we always practice it that way because it's harder. Okay. Sit. I'm going to have her sit closer to the doorway. We have one noisy dog in there. It probably sounds like 10 dogs to you. Only one dog barking at us. So she waited. I stepped out. I stepped back. Okay. She comes out with me. Sit. And then if we're going to let her be free out here, say this is your backyard. Out after you pass through the boundary calmly. Go. Then she's free and you can unhook the leash and she can run around. So we're having her sit at the gate here. We're on our way to take a walk here. So have her sit, step through the gate, just like the door. Okay, just like any other boundary. Sit. Step out. She waits till I come back to her. Okay. Since I'm by myself, I'm going to do a little left turn like this, which is a very valuable thing to do in a lot of situations, is to always turn into her. You have to go somewhere, always turn into her. Let your body do the work, because the most you'll have to do with the leash is to tap to slow her down, but your body does the work, and it's so much better than pulling her around like this, which is what will happen when you see it happening all the time. So the great thing about always turning left for a while, if I'm going to go right, I'm going to turn left to go right, is that if she gets used to that, since turning left draws her back next to you, turn left and the dog is drawn back next to you, she gets used to being right there. She gets used to walking on a loose leash. And if you practice this for a while, then you can make right turns as well. And there's a very specific way for her to stay right at your side when you're making right turns as well, which we can show you. So here's another boundary, a rather important boundary. It's the curb. And so I'm always having her sit and wait at the curbs. So for me, free time area are the sidewalks and the yards or whatever. But when we're going to, nope, there's a bunch of birds right there, and that's what she's triggered by. Oh, okay, and I think they're so bold around here, I bet they walk into the shot. So if she makes a mistake, for example, and pops up, you say no, and you reset her. Can you see the birds? And they're coming towards us. Nope. So let's see if we can handle this. Can you see the one is coming here? So she's really interested in those birds, but I had to reset her a couple of times, and I'm not gonna move forward until she does this successfully. We'll walk around, sit, stay there. Okay, we're gonna cross the street now. Why don't you get on that side of me? And so I was saying that I always treat the boundary to the street as on the clock, like she walks across in training mode with me, and I keep it loosey, and I'm walking super slow just to exaggerate the way I do it, and it's harder for her to walk slow. It's harder for any dog to walk slower, so you might have to tap a few times like that, keep her next to you, and then we get to the other side, it's sit, and over here, once we've crossed that red zone, so to speak, where she's always going to be on the clock, go, at her chest. And now we start the walk. So you saw us start the walk from the inside of my front door. We did the gateway, we did the curbs, and it took probably 2 minutes to do that. And if you do that as well, before you walk her, you start the walk on your terms, where by the time you release her to be free out on the street, she's much calmer than if you would have put the leash on and she's excited and she pulls you out because you end up the stairs, and really it's kind of too late at that point. She sees something like birds or whatever on the street and she goes nuts. But if you start on your terms and do the training, just take 2 minutes to start it the right way and make sure that she doesn't cross any of these boundaries until she does it the right way, which is you've seen on video here. So she can do it. It's really about how you handle her that matters. You'll see she just gets calmer and calmer every time you take her out. There's less and less pulling. And you also have your come command to call her away from things as well if you have to. Okay, let's go. So we have cats here on the street, and just to show you, see one there, come! And it tends to be a huge distraction for a lot of dogs. And there's another one there. I don't know if you can see the white cat there, but and this cat is right behind that tree. Let's move closer. Right behind that tree, and I can see it, and Beatrix can see it, and see how excited she is. Come! So that's a big thing for her, is cats on the street more than dogs or anything else. So we're lucky enough to have, there it is. Come. So that's how you handle it. And I actually haven't had a chance to practice with cats because we rarely see them here and we don't have any cats. Come. But you see, even at first, I had to, one of those times, come. Now she's coming back to me. Maybe that's the 4th time I've called her back to me. The first time when she saw the cat up close, I had to do that to get her to come back to me, but I never repeated it. There's the cat again. Come. And it's coming towards us. These cats have a lot of courage here. It's right there. Come. Now the cat's going to be gone because it went under the gate. But I just wanted to grab this opportunity, since the cat's just popped up, we're on a walk, to show you what to do if something just shows up unexpectedly that is a trigger for her that she's really interested in. She's still looking at that white cat sitting over there. Just use your recall. What you don't want to do is you don't want to go like this and go, oh, we better get out of here, and drag her around, because if you do this, she'll pull more and she'll get more overstimulated. But if you, and let's do it one more time as we cross the street, the cat will probably move. At the same time, we don't want to scare the poor little kitty. Let's see how Beatrix is really into it. Come! But if you, this way, right here. But if you practice this a lot, she's going to come your way and you won't have to struggle. So, you want to, come! Still calling her away, the cat's just sitting there. Good. So use the training, use the come command that you're practicing anyway throughout the day to call her away from big distractions where formerly maybe she barked and pulled or something like that. And it could be any distraction, whatever happens when she comes back home to you, whether it's kids on bicycles or skateboards or any of that kind of stuff. Why don't you go to your left and show both the cats, and that cat is injured, the white cat, and then show Beatrix. And then we'll do it one more time. She's staring. Come! Practice calling her away from things like that. Sit. Good. We never repeat the command. Stay is built into sit. So if we say sit, then she knows to stay there until she's released. And this is just a basic sit stay where she accepts me walking around her all the way around from both directions. And if she were to pop up, let's pretend that she popped up on me before I released her. So I'll release her, but okay, let's pretend that she popped up. So she pops up, you're going to say no. You're going to step into her, use your body. Always keep that leash loose. So as you're walking her around, if she pulls, you can tap and she'll stop pulling. Tap and release. It's all about tap and release, and then you put her back. But don't say SIT again, because you already said it once, and we want her to get better and better at just staying in that sit-stay for as long as we want to keep her there. You wouldn't want to keep her there for a long time because it's uncomfortable probably to sit on a hard surface for very long. So if you're going to do a long stay, you want to do it in a downstay, probably be better. But you know, within reason, she stays there till you come back. And then the way that you release her, she waits for you to come back next to her, and with your right hand, you lean over and you pat her chest and say, go, and she's free. We're going to practice our commands in public and see how Beatrix does. And she was interested in those people that passed by, but she still stayed in her sit-stay. She's very interested in people, as you know. She's very friendly. She's very affectionate with people. She may even look over there, but she still stays in her sit-stay, and she deserves a reward. Always reward her like this. Eye contact, straight down, good. Make sure you're not doing it like this, because it kind of makes you semi-irrelevant. It does change everything if you're above her. She has eye contact because you do it like this, straight down. Good. I don't know if you could see that. She's literally looking at you in the eyes as she gets the treat. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference. And if you're doing this multiple times a day, no. See, for some reason she wanted to pop up there, and I was waiting for that. You say no. You step into her. Use your body to reset her. And so see how I'm just kind of tapping. I'm not dragging her or being rough. And you reset her, and just, she actually put herself back, but she knows she just lost focus. But if you have to, it's just a little bit of continuous tension. And it's really busy here. It's not this and this and this. It's just continuous tension, and you'll see her butt will hit the ground, and then you release it. So it's gentle but firm. And we're going to finish up this sit-stay with one more walk around here. And then we even have people talking to her. She's doing really well. She's going to get a big reward for this. Good. And this is the way you always release her. She's waiting until you come back next to her like this. With your right hand, pat her chest and say go. And she's free. Down by barely putting any pressure on the leash. But if you're in a situation like this where there's a lot going on and you want to practice a downstay, and of course pick a place that's safe so that you're not in the main area of traffic or whatever where you can do this. But if you're in a place where she might be triggered to be unfocused, you should do that with the DOWN, because the worst thing to do is to constantly be telling her, and then when she doesn't do it, force her down after you've told her. So we're leading to a better and quicker down if we do it simultaneously like that, which is down, because very quickly you won't need to use your foot because you're doing it that way. But if you say down, she ignores you, and then you force her down, you kind of get stuck in that pattern forever. And of course we don't want that. Stay is built into down, so you don't have to say stay. You never say stay. You can test her out in a bunch of different ways. Good. As you can see, it's exactly as if we're doing the mat exercise, which we started off doing in our front yard the first day she came to us. And it's from practicing that, which you'll see on another part of this video, that she's able to do this. So we started teaching her exactly how a downstay works on the mat, and practicing with different distractions there, so that over time she can do it out in real life and really have a solid downstay. So that's what led to this. If she pops up because she gets distracted by something, no. step on that leash, she'll go right back. She pops up and goes somewhere else, runs that way or towards you. You just step into her, reset her, and she would be next to you. You'd reset her, put her back. Don't say DOWN, because you already said that once. You want the first time you said it to hold for 5 minutes if need be. So don't repeat the command. Always train with a leash, of course, and especially, of course, if you're out in public. She has to have a leash on so that you have a way to gently but firmly reinforce that command. And then if you keep doing it this way, there's a chance you may have off leash at some point, which means, of course, that she doesn't need a leash. That's a very high level of training for most people, but you'll have a great level of training either way if you just do it this way. We have this thing coming towards us. Okay, that's how you release her. Sit, and then go. Sit. We're walking Beatrix up to a person. We want her to greet respectfully, have her sit, step over to the person, give him some treats to offer her so that she doesn't want to jump because all the treats will be down on ground level. She waits until I, with my right hand, pat her chest and say, go say hi. And he pets her. She gets treats. Come. Call her back to come to me. So left hand grabs the leash, right hand has a reward. I'm going to step into her. And I'll just do a little complete circle there. Sit. You don't have to do that every time, but it's good to do, especially the first few weeks that she comes back to you. Doing that really makes her feel like somebody's taking charge. See how she's waiting? Make sure she really waits. Go say hi. Come. Good. This time I'll just step into her, sit, I won't do the full circle. So you do this every day, and as you practice this and she gets used to doing this with you, she obviously knows how to do it. It's really about you practicing my moves and practicing with her. But as time goes on, start adding like a little sit stay there too. You can do the full circle and the sit stay and then send her over. This part's super important. Notice that the leash is loose. So if she did pop up before I released her, you tap it and say no and she'll go back. So that you're going to hold it like that, but you see she knows her little job well. Go. She's waiting, send her over. She gets a treat, petted, come. And she's done it so much, sit, that now she'll just come back before you even say come. But still say the command so that she's always used to hearing it. But it really teaches her a respectful way to meet people, whether she knows them or not. Make sure they have a little treat, because why would she jump if the petting, the hands, the treat, all down on ground level? And at first, you want to call her back to you when the treat goes away and they pet her for a second or two, call her back to you before she jumps, and then over time you can gradually, like we'll do it one more time, go say hi, just pet her. You don't even have to do treats. And you'll gradually see that she just, because she hasn't done it in so long, because you've been practicing this routine whenever possible, that she just doesn't do it anymore, even if she really likes somebody, which she obviously likes him. And maybe she's about to jump now. No, she's actually sitting down. Oh, and she comes back to me probably because she's feeling like, oh, when I start to get excited, that's when they call me back to come. So that's the way this is supposed to work. Pet her some more. But we have like no jumping now because we've been practicing this every day with different people. Come. And it's just yet another sit, another great way and a situation where you can practice your recall as well, calling her away from other people. Excellent. Sit. We always walk her up to the mat and have her sit, and we allow her to go on the mat. See, we're always having a loose leash, although if she pops up before you release her, you can just tap it and say no. So don't have a really long leash. Make sure that you just have a little, just guesstimate it, just a little bit of slack there, so you can do that if you have to. But a tight leash is going to stress her out. It stresses all dogs out, and if you're restraining her or you have some tension, she won't be as focused as she could be if you just had a loose leash and you use your taps instead of restraining. With my right hand, I'm going to pat her chest and say, go to your mat, and then walk over with her and say, down. And then the way that we start this exercise is we'll just stand in front of her and practice. Good. Practice her waiting for us to place the reward there on the mat and withdraw, and then she waits and takes it off the mat when you withdraw. And all that is you can't stand back like this. You've got like 8 feet here, you got a 6-foot leash, and your arm is at least 2 feet. Step forward, kind of swing in. See how I swing in on her level? No. And if she does that, pull back and say no. Good. And this is so much of the important part of this exercise is the way that you deliver the reward and the way that she accepts the reward, because the whole idea is that she stays in a calm state of mind here. Nope. Good. So it's really about keeping her calm, and it wouldn't matter if she was stayed in a down state, but she was grabbing your hand and she was reactive and not waiting for your permission to take the reward. That would mean that she was not really calm and she was not focused at the level we want her to be. So if she pops up, you say no. What's happening is it's a really windy day, and this tent that we're under is flapping, and that kind of thing always scares her. So if I wasn't talking to you, I would have said, I think I did say no and reset her, and I would have done this, but she went right back because she knows how to play this game, and she knows that she lost focus because of this. Flapping makes her nervous, and then I reset her and she just went right back. So she knows how to play this game, but she does need somebody to handle her in this way. Good. And I'm pausing for a good couple of seconds. No. And if she doesn't leave the mat, you can just, pivot on your right foot with your left, put her back down there. So this is a tough thing that we're doing here. Nope. Good. Because these kinds of things with a skittish dog really make them nervous and they kind of lose it. No. So you're going to see how she is in a tough situation. And you may not be able to hear the flapping on the mic, but it is happening. You can tell she got nervous all of a sudden. So I'm just going to finish up with this. Walking around both ways. And then one last reward. Nope. Nope. Good. And then the only way that she leaves the mat, nope. The only way that she leaves the mat is when you walk back next to her. She's still waiting until you say, okay, lead her off the mat, have her sit, and then always a loose leash, right? With your right hand, pat her chest and say go. Make sure you always pick the mat up when you're done, because all the dogs want to go hang out on it. It's not a doggy bed. It's only for this one exercise you do with her. So whether you get one of these mats from me or you use a bath mat or something like that, it should be her size, big enough for her body to fit on it. And it should be something that she's not familiar with and has never done anything else on other than this. So it really helps to have just a brand new something that she's not used to, so that you can imprint only that behavior on there, and every time she goes there it just automatically triggers her to do that, which over time makes the downstay much better. And just 5 minutes a day is fine. The flapping and the wind is really making her nervous, and that's what just came up as we were filming this. So it's not her fault. But if you just do this every day, if you don't have 5 minutes, just do it for 3 minutes. But it really helps to do this. It helps with her stay overall, her downstay and sit stay, and helps keep her more focused throughout the day by doing this exercise. Okay. When I'm practicing the recall, I always do it the same way. If you do it the same way, and see how she's really interested in the camera person. Come! Good. So I backed away as far as I could back away, But even if you take 2 steps, it still draws the dog to you quicker. So when you're practicing the come command, make sure that you back away, because it triggers a dog to rush to you, and that's the type of recall we all want. And if you practice it the same way when you are in control of where you are, like with the leash and the treat, and you're going to practice it in a place that it works for you, then when your back is to a wall or to a curb or something, you can't back away, all she's going to know is every time she's heard the come command dozens, hundreds of times before, she always runs to you, so she's going to run to you. You won't have to back away. So practicing the right way helps you get the same result in a crisis situation. So always back away. We'll do it again. Come. Good. You see, the left hand is free because it's over your wrist. So you grab the leash, and the right hand has the reward, and she comes to it. Good. You just open it, say good. You can even pet her after she takes it, and the left hand already has the leash so that you have control over her. Make sure that you're always doing it that way, and if she's off leash, come. Hook your hand under that collar, that really pretty multicolored collar she has on, so that she's very used to coming when called and staying there and staying with you, rather than what so many dogs do. They come, they grab the treat and run off. So with the leash, you take the leash, and with the collar, hook your hand under that collar so she's very used to staying there with you, and then you have control over her. It's really important to have a closed hand, because even when there's nothing there, when you practiced a lot, she won't know why she wants to come to that hand. Come! And you can just go anywhere and she'll follow it. Good girl! If you do that and you kind of fake her out that way, good girl. Just love her up extra. And at this point, I've called her to me hundreds of times, and she probably barely missed the treat reward. But if you find yourself in a situation where she's running away from you or about to do something you don't want her to do, there's no leash, there's no reward. Just practice as if you have it, and she will most likely come to you every time. But when you're practicing on a leash, which is the only way to make sure that you're successful every time, always do it this way, because then someday you'll probably have an emergency when it needs to work and you don't have a leash or treats. It'll still work if you practice it this way. Sit. Always walk her up to the crate, just like you do on the mat. You have her sit, in this case, and she loves her crate, so she's going to want to run in there, but she needs to wait for your permission to go in. So you open the door, the leash is loose. You may have seen I tapped and then released, and she stopped because she tried to go in a couple of seconds ago. Go, and you send her in her crate. She goes in, she turns around, she gets a treat. That's why she loves to go in her crate. When she goes in there, you take off her training collar, and then we always do the same thing every time. Another treat, and we close the door. And she does this routine multiple times a day, constantly in and out of different yards that we have here. And it's always the same routine, and I'll show you how we take her out in a moment. But it's all about controlling her access into the crate that we've developed as her den. So dogs are naturally den animals, so it's really easy to make a dog love their crate. And so the way we did it was we fed her constantly in the crate. She eats all her meals in there. If she's in the crate, at mealtime, she's in the crate and come with a bowl of food. We open the door, give her the bowl, close the door. She gets treats every time she goes in, just like you saw. Every interaction with us, with her in the crate, is preceded by a treat, so that she always loves hands coming in. She loves this collar being put on her. Everything's good, happy time in the crate, no punishment at all, because we want to have this way to manage her in a way that she loves as well, because sometimes you just want to have her out of the mix for whatever reason, and it's a great way to travel, of course, so she'll always like the crate. But it's also a tool for training, because you controlling her access in the way I'm doing it here, in and out of her den, makes her perceive you as more of the boss. And so this is part of the training. The way that you allow her in the crate and the way you allow her out is part of the training. And it helps all the other training. So make sure that you do this for a while, because it really makes a difference. when you take this little training collar off, prong collar, you just hang it on the door so it doesn't get tangled up. The choke chain and the leash you can put anywhere if you want. When I take her out, and if I'm going to take her out on the street especially, this is the way I put her stuff back on her. This little choke chain would be very dangerous to use as training because it's metal and it would just choke her or it could, damage her throat. So we don't use it for training, but it hangs loosely. It's doubled up on the leash along with the training collar in case the training collar ever comes off. This comes into play and we don't lose the dog out on the street, which is rare, but it does happen, so we always use this, but not to be used for training because it could actually hurt her throat. And so we're going to put that on first, and the best way to do it is to have a little treat. Stick your hand in there, she takes the treat and you just slip it over her head. That goes on first, and then the little prong collar. This is the smallest size prong collar that is made, and make sure that you can actually take it on, put it on or take it off from any one of these little links, but make sure that you attach the leash to the funny shape buckle. This round little ring here is just a spacer, you don't touch it, and make sure that it's not twisted. If it's twisted even one time around, it won't work. So you can let it hang, make sure it does that. It's already attached to the leash, and then you just reach in, hook her up, make sure that this prong collar is the highest collar up, it's above the other collars, it's right underneath her ears, and then you can also attach the leash to the choke chain, so you're all set up. If she wants to come out before you release her, you just say no. Say no. Do this little, I call it a token slam. But this is also an exercise in her waiting at this boundary until we allow her to come out. And when we do this little exercise as part of it, good. What I'll do is I'll give her a treat, I'll stand back. Good, I'll practice this. Good. If she were to try to come out, I'd say no and do this. But she's not. So I'll step all the way to the end of the leash. Good. Good, and she's waiting to be released out of the crate. Okay. And then always close this door, because if she's allowed to go in and out of the crate, it kind of ruins your whole power of the crate exercise, because this is a place in her mind where good things happen. Also, there's certain bones that she really likes to chew on, only in the crate. Anything that she really likes should only be in the crate, because you want to develop this as the best place ever, and a place she loves to go into whenever you need her to go into that. And so you want to do this routine. You see how it's done. You see how she will wait at the doorways, makes you more powerful in her life. And this, even though you may not see the connection, doing this exercise is going to make her more readily come when called as well, out on the street, or stay in a sit stay or down stay. So it ties in with everything else. So doing it exactly the way I did it on the video is very important. Here she sleeps overnight in the crate, but throughout the day she's out quite a lot, in and out. And it's not even about having her in the crate for long periods of time. It's just about how you put her in, how you take her out. Even if she was just in for half an hour to eat her meals, and maybe one other time a day for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever, just make sure that you use the crate with the training like I just showed you, and that's the important thing. Okay.